This is the latest variant of the DJI Mavic 3, the new DJI Mavic 3 Pro. Today we are going to look at 10 things you need to know about this drone, including the new triple camera system, along with all the new features and specifications. Now I have also included timestamps in the description down below that you can use to rewind or rewatch a specific part of the video where I demonstrate one of the features about the Mavic 3 Pro. Let's jump right in. Now, much like the original DJI Mavic 3, this DJI Mavic 3 Pro comes in two versions. The standard DJI Mavic 3 Pro, which I am using today, and the DJI Mavic 3 Pro Cine Edition. Both the DJI Mavic 3 Pro and the Mavic 3 Pro Cine feature the same three cameras with identical sensor sizes, lenses, and primary features. However, the Cine version features 1 terabyte of SSD internal storage, whereas the standard Mavic 3 Pro only has 8 gigabytes of internal storage. Now, one of the biggest differences is that the Cine version can also record in Apple ProRes. And the Cine version also comes in slightly heavier at 963 grams versus the standard DJI Mavic 3 Pro's 958 grams. The Mavic 3 Pro, Mavic 3 and Mavic 3 Classic are exactly the same in terms of flight, obstacle avoidance, video transmission and smart features. The main difference between the Mavic 3 Pro and other versions of the Mavic 3 is that it has a new triple camera system. So let's now start with the main camera, which is a Hasselblad 4/3 CMOS sensor. And that sensor size provides great quality footage and performs really well in low light situations, especially when using night mode. This camera has a field of view of 84 degrees, which is an equivalent to a 24mm lens. This camera also has an adjustable aperture, which you can adjust in Pro mode by tapping the settings on the bottom right of the screen. And then you can adjust the aperture between 2.8 all the way up to 11. Now, if you're using this camera to capture close subjects, the focusing range of this camera is from 1 meter to infinity. Now, when it comes to zooming on the main camera, there is 2 things to note. Now, you can zoom the main camera either by using the scroll wheel on the back of the controller or by tapping the 1x icon on the side of the screen. So you can smooth zoom the main camera up to 3 times by using the scroll wheel on the controller. Or if you tap the 1x icon on the side of the screen, you can jump to a 2x zoom and then a 3x zoom. Now, the thing to note about this zoom is that it's achieved by a digital crop, so the more you zoom in, the more there will be a reduction in quality. The second thing to note is you won't be able to zoom this main camera beyond that 3x zoom. The drone won't automatically switch over to the second telecamera, which is essentially a 3x zoom compared to the main camera. As you use that scroll wheel, you will hit a hard stop at 3x on the main camera. So to switch over to the second telecamera, you have to press the 3 on the zoom slider on the right side of the screen, and then you will switch into the second telecamera. Now, this second camera has a 1/1.3 inch sensor with a field of view of 35 degrees, which is a 70mm equivalent. So this is a 3x zoom compared to the main camera's 24mm. And this allows you to get really awesome medium range shots while getting comparable image quality to the main Hasselblad camera. Now, this second camera has a fixed aperture, so you can't change it, of f2.8. And with this second camera, you can digitally zoom all the way up to a 7x zoom. Again, you will hit a hard stop at the 7x zoom on this second telecamera. So to switch into the third telecamera, you have to press the 7 icon on the right side of the screen to switch into that third camera. Now, this camera has a 1/2 inch CMOS sensor and a field of view of 15 degrees, which is a 166mm equivalent. This gives you a 7x zoom compared to the 24mm main camera, which allows you to get in super close to subjects and achieve effects such as background compression and parallax. This third telecamera also has a fixed aperture of f3.4, and you can digitally zoom all the way up to 28 times. Now, for the best and sharpest looking footage, you want to be filming at either 1x with the main camera, 3x with the second camera, or 7 times with the third camera, as anything else is using a digital zoom on each of those cameras, which will start to lower the quality. All 3 cameras have auto or pro, which is manual mode available. So you can use auto mode, where the drone will automatically adjust the ISO, shutter speed and aperture to achieve an exposure that it thinks looks right. Or you can switch into manual mode to have full control over these settings and your exposure. There is also priority modes, which allow you to manually set either the ISO, shutter speed or aperture and let the drone automatically adjust the rest. When it comes to resolutions and frame rates, with the main camera you can capture up to 5.1K at 50 FPS, and you can also capture 4K 60 FPS with the main camera as well, and up to 4K 60 FPS with the 2 tele cameras. With the main camera, you can also record in slow motion by tapping the mode button on the right side of the screen, scrolling down to slow motion, and in here you can either record at 4K 120 FPS, or you can record at 1080p 200 FPS. For codecs, you can record in H.264 and H.265, and the Cine version allows Apple ProRes. For color modes, the main camera can record in the normal color profile, 10-bit D-Log and 10-bit D-Log-M, and HLG. D-Log and D-Log-M also have a color assist mode, and this will boost the saturation of your video so you can preview on the screen something that looks more like how the end result is going to look while you're capturing your video. When it comes to the second 3x medium telecamera, you can record in normal, 10-bit D-Log-M and HLG. And lastly, the third 7x telecamera can only record in the normal color mode. For bitrate, in H.264 and H.265, this drone has a max video bitrate of 200 megabits per second. Now the ISO ranges and the max ISO you can use changes depending on the color mode you are in. For videos in the normal color profile, the ISO range is 100 to 6400. In D-Log, it's 400 to 1600. In D-Log-M, it's 100 to 1600. And in HLG, it's 100 to 1600. For photos, the ISO range is 100 to 6400. However, if you are recording in low light or nighttime situations, there is also night mode. Night mode is available on the main camera only and has better noise suppression and allows an ISO of up to 12,800. This allows you to capture impressively clean nighttime footage. Now the DJI Mavic 3 Pro also comes with ND filters, and these attach by twisting off anti-clockwise the stock cap on the camera and then twisting on one of the filters clockwise to attach them to the camera. Now with the pack included with the DJI Mavic 3 Pro, you get an ND8, an ND16, an ND32 and an ND64. So to make it easier to quickly see the main specs of each camera within the triple camera system, I have put together a quick chart showing the specs of each camera included in the DJI Mavic 3 Pro. Feel free to pause the video or screenshot this for future reference. Now I quickly want to go through and showcase some of the uses and exciting possibilities having this triple camera system allows. Having 3 cameras with different fields of views allows you to get 3 unique perspectives and capture a wider variety of clips without having to move or reposition your drone. And because each one of the 3 cameras included on the DJI Mavic 3 Pro allows recording up to 4K 60 FPS, you can get consistent quality from each of these perspectives. Using the telecameras, you can also achieve the parallax effect, where as the drone moves, the foreground and background appear to move at different speeds, giving you this awesome looking effect. Using the 2 telecameras, you can also achieve an effect known as background compression. Because of a combination of the telecamera and drone to subject distance, this can make distant objects look larger than they actually are. As a result, it gives the appearance that the background has pulled in closer to the subject, again helping you get more unique shots. Another benefit of the telecameras is to be able to capture videos or images of subjects that you can't physically fly the drone closer to. Maybe you want to capture a subject in the distance, but you can't find a takeoff location close enough that would let you keep your drone in visual line of sight as you're flying it. Maybe there are a lot of people around the point of interest you want to capture and you want to keep your drone a safe distance away from them. Or if there is wildlife and you don't want to disturb them, you can simply use the telecamera to zoom in on the subject and get the clip you want. Now let's quickly take a look at some of the shots I managed to capture with this drone over the past few weeks across Northern Ireland. As you can see, the quality of the video you get from this drone is absolutely exceptional. And because you have 3 cameras at different fields of views, this inspires you to get creative. Something I have found myself doing with this drone is going back to locations I have captured with a drone hundreds of times before, but experimenting with capturing completely new perspectives. Now, if you like the music in that highlight reel or are looking for the best platform to find music and sound effects for your own drone videos, then I highly recommend and use Epidemic Sound. They have over 40,000 tracks in a range of genres and playlists that are easy to browse and search to find that perfect song. They also have 90,000 diverse sound effects. So if you need the sound of waves crashing, a waterfall, etc., they have you covered. They own 100% of all their music and sound effects, and because they are royalty free, you are safe to use them in your projects. If you would like to give their platform a try, you can use the link in the description down below to receive a free 1-month trial and see how their music and sound effects can elevate your drone videos and sequences. Looking now at the size and weight, let's start with the size. And the Mavic 3 Pro is basically the same size as the other Mavic 3 variants, the Mavic 3 and the Mavic 3 Classic. So even though you have 3 cameras, the drone isn't any larger overall. Folded up, this drone easily fits into a camera backpack, making it portable and easy to travel with. When it comes to weight, the Mavic 3 Pro is a little bit heavier than the other Mavic 3 variants, weighing 958 grams for the standard Mavic 3 Pro and 963 grams for the Mavic 3 Pro Cine. The additional weight over the other Mavic 3 versions comes from that larger and heavier camera unit. And this drone comes with a C2 class rating in Europe. Now with the main camera, we have access to Active Track 5.0, Point of Interest mode and Spotlight mode. So looking first at Active Track 5.0 on the main camera. This allows the drone to track you as you walk, run or do an activity. And the nice thing about Active Track 5.0 is you can decide what direction you want the drone to be as it tracks you. Point of Interest mode allows you to draw a box over a subject and have the drone do an orbit around it. And using this scroll bar on the bottom of the screen, you can select the direction you want the drone to orbit and how fast. And lastly, we have Spotlight mode. Now in Spotlight mode, if you draw a box around a subject or point of interest, as you fly around, the drone will automatically keep that subject centered for you. And this can make doing complex drone moves so much easier because you don't have to worry about keeping your subject centered as you fly the drone around. Now the main camera and the 3x medium telecamera have access to Active Track, Spotlight and Point of Interest mode. So this allows you to track subjects with that 3x tele lens, and this is great for creating a greater sense of speed and action and getting closer to your subjects as you track them. The 7x telecamera, on the other hand, can't do active track, so you cannot track with that 7x telecamera. However, you can do Spotlight and Point of Interest mode. The Mavic 3 Pro also features the same omnidirectional obstacle avoidance as the Mavic 3 and Mavic 3 Classic, meaning it can detect obstacles in every direction. You have the option for the drone to either brake when you get close to an obstacle or bypass it by flying around it and continuing on. When it comes to capturing images with this drone, you can use all three cameras. The main wide-angle camera is 20 megapixel, which produces images with a resolution of 5280 by 3956. With the second 3x telecamera, you actually have two options. You have a 12 megapixel setting and a 48 megapixel setting. Now, I have been using the 48 megapixel setting, which produces images with a resolution of 8000 by 6000. And lastly, the third 7x telecamera is 12 megapixel, which produces images with a resolution of 4000 by 3000. You can capture in both JPEG and RAW. All three cameras support single shot mode, burst shooting, AEB or automatic exposure bracketing, and timed capture mode. For panoramas, you have the option to capture a sphere, 180, wide angle, or vertical panorama. However, this is only available on the main camera. You cannot take panoramas with the 3x or 7x telecamera. You can, however, do hyperlapses on the 3x telecamera as well as the main camera. And you can switch between the two by going into hyperlapse mode, and then on the right side of the screen you can change between the main camera or go into that 3x medium range telecamera by tapping the 3 on the right side of the screen. The Mavic 3 Pro has a max flight time of 43 minutes, which is slightly less than the standard Mavic 3 and Mavic 3 Classic, as they have a flight time of 46 minutes. This small decrease is likely due to the Mavic 3 Pro being slightly heavier, but 43 minutes is still a lot of time in the air, and if you have 3 batteries, provides over 2 hours of flight time. The batteries, which are the same as the Mavic 3 and Mavic 3 Classic, insert into the back of the drone. Included is this multi-battery charger, which you can put all 3 batteries into charge. And this supports the supplied 100-watt USB-C power adapter, which allows you to charge each battery in around 70 minutes. Now, when it comes to intelligent modes, we get quick shots, which allows the drone to fly pre-planned drone moves of a subject, and master shots, in which the drone flies a pre-planned route that includes multiple drone moves and then combines them to create a full video sequence automatically. Now, quick shots and master shots only work with the main camera on the drone. You can't use these modes with the 2 telecameras. Now, Waypoints was recently added to the Mavic 3 and Mavic 3 Classic, and it is also available on this Mavic 3 Pro. Waypoints allows you to create a route for the drone to fly automatically, allowing you to have the drone follow an identical flight path over and over. And this is great if you want to record a similar scene at different times of the day, month, or year, and see the changes or progress. Now, when it comes to choosing a zoom level for each waypoint, you can only control this for the main camera. So you have between 1x and 3x zoom, but remember, this is a digital zoom on the main camera. You can, however, set this to manual, and then this allows you to change between the 3 cameras, so the main camera and the 2 telecameras, as the drone is flying its waypoint mission by tapping the 1x, 3x, or 7x icon on the right side of the screen. The only downside with this is you need to do this manually as the drone is flying the waypoint mission. You can't automatically set it to change between them 3 cameras. I have a full beginner's guide to the Waypoints mode, so if you would like to learn more about that feature, I will put a link in the description down below. Another feature that was recently added to the Mavic 3 and Mavic 3 Classic, and is also available on the new Mavic 3 Pro, is cruise control. Now, what cruise control allows you to do is to fly a certain move using the joysticks on the controller at a certain speed, and then by pressing a button you can lock that motion in, so you can let go of the joysticks and the drone will continue to do that move at that speed. Now, while using cruise control mode or before you engage cruise control mode, you can also switch between the main camera and the 2 telecameras, again by using the 1x, 3x and 7x button on the right side of the screen. The max horizontal speed in sports mode of the Mavic 3 Pro is 21 meters per second, with a max ascent speed of 8 meters per second and a descent speed of 6 meters per second, the same as the other Mavic 3 variants. Wind resistance is also the same, with the max wind speed resistance being 12 meters per second. So I very quickly wanted to highlight the main differences between all 3 versions of the Mavic 3 so that you can decide which one is best for you. The Mavic 3 Pro Mavic 3 and Mavic 3 Classic are exactly the same in terms of flight, obstacle avoidance, active track, video transmission and smart features. They all also have the same max speed and wind resistance. The first big difference is the cameras. The Mavic 3 Classic comes with one camera, the Hasselblad 4/3 CMOS sensor with the field of view of 84 degrees, which is an equivalent to a 24mm lens. The standard Mavic 3 has two cameras. It comes with the same Hasselblad 4/3 CMOS main camera, but also has the 1/2-inch CMOS sensor telecamera with a field of view of 15 degrees, which is a 166mm equivalent, equaling a 7 times zoom compared to the 24mm main camera. Lastly, the new Mavic 3 Pro has that triple camera system. Included is the same Hasselblad 4/3 CMOS sensor, a 1/1.3-inch sensor with a field of view of 35 degrees, which is a 70mm equivalent. So this is a 3 times zoom compared to the main camera's 24mm, and also the same 1/2-inch CMOS sensor telecamera as the Mavic 3, producing a 7 times zoom. The weight across the three variants is also different, with the Mavic 3 Classic weighing 895 grams, the Mavic 3 weighing 895 grams, and the new Mavic 3 Pro weighing 958 grams. The Mavic 3 Classic and Mavic 3 also share a max flight time of 46 minutes, whereas the new Mavic 3 Pro is slightly less with a max flight time of 43 minutes. The three different Mavic 3 versions are also available with a range of different controllers. The Mavic 3 is available with the DJI RC N1. That's the controller that you attach your phone to. The Mavic 3 Classic you can either buy with the RC N1 or the DJI RC. The Mavic 3 Pro is available with either the DJI RC or the DJI RC Pro. So what are the main differences between the DJI RC Pro and the DJI RC? Both the DJI RC Pro and the DJI RC have a 5.5-inch 1080p screen. The DJI RC Pro supports screen brightness up to 1000 nits, whereas the DJI RC supports screen brightness up to 700 nits. The RC Pro has 32 gigabytes of internal storage, which you can use for storing things like screen recordings, whereas the DJI RC has no internal storage. Both these controllers take a microSD card, so you can store things like screen recordings to that microSD card. The DJI RC Pro also supports third-party apps, whereas the DJI RC does not support third-party apps. The DJI RC Pro is equipped with 4 antennas, 2 fold out at the top of the controller, whereas the DJI RC only has 2 antennas. Lastly, there are a few more function buttons on the DJI RC Pro over the DJI RC, allowing you to map more functions to these buttons on the RC Pro. Looking now at the price, and there are a few different options available for you to pick up this drone. You can get the DJI Mavic 3 Pro with the DJI RC Pro, and that costs £3,169. The DJI Mavic 3 Pro with the DJI RC combo is £2,549. The DJI Mavic 3 Pro Cine version with the RC Pro costs £4,109. And lastly, there is a non-combo version with only the Mavic 3 Pro, DJI RC controller and no additional batteries for £1,879. So coming back to the Mavic 3 Pro, and over the past few weeks I have had the pleasure of trying this drone in a range of different locations, lighting conditions and wind conditions. And not only has it been fun to fly, but as with all Mavic 3 variants, it's incredibly easy to fly and can handle pretty much every scenario you throw at it. Having 3 cameras with different focal lengths has opened up lots of different creative possibilities to get more unique looking clips, and also get lots of different perspectives of locations or subjects. And as mentioned, I've had so much fun going back to locations I've captured hundreds of times with a drone before, but finding new angles and perspectives to capture them from using them tele cameras. And it's incredible to think that you can now fly with 3 cameras packed into a drone of this size. Now, if you're picking this drone up and you want to protect your investment, then I highly recommend DJI Care Refresh. It's DJI's version of insurance, and it covers you for accidental damage that includes collisions, flyaways and water damage. Even though the Mavic 3 Pro has safety features such as omnidirectional obstacle avoidance, a lapse in judgment or concentration, or flying the drone in sport mode with obstacle avoidance turned off can mean that your drone gets damaged. The way it works is if you crash, damage, or have a flyaway with your drone, you can have it replaced for a small additional cost, and they have a 1 or 2 year plan available. And if you're buying a drone at this price point, you want to make sure you are protected. So I will put a link in the description where you can read all about DJI Care Refresh. So there you have it, that's everything you need to know about the new DJI Mavic 3 Pro. And if you have any questions about this drone, then please pop them in the comments down below. Now before you go, if you liked this video and you learned anything new, please let me know by giving me the thumbs up and clicking that like button down below. And if you love all things drones and want to know how to get better images and more cinematic videos with your drone, then I recommend you check out my channel where I have a ton of other content to help you level up your drone game. If you don't want to miss any of my upcoming videos, then please remember to subscribe and make sure that notification bell is checked so that you will be alerted when a new video comes out. And if you want to stick around and see a few more of them videos now, here's a few I personally recommend. I'll not keep you back any further. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you over there.